Elon Musk's relationship with the Democratic Party seems to be on the rocks. Elon has recently had public spats with prominent Democratic leaders like President Joe Biden, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, and Elizabeth Warren. And after the latest developments, Elon Musk has now helped expose House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's corruption. Elon Musk recently revealed that he had never voted Republican in the past and even voted for President Joe Biden in the previous election. However, Elon isn't happy with the president and his party's policies anymore. In the past, I voted Democrat because they were the kindness party, but they have become the party of division and hate, so I can no longer support them and will vote Republican. Musk is a self-proclaimed moderate and is registered as an independent. Even his political donations reflect that he isn't biased towards any political party. Elon Musk has donated a total of $1.2 million to political campaigns since 2002, and his donations represent a 50-50 split between the two major political parties. More recently, however, Musk has swayed towards the Republican Party and has even predicted a Republican red wave in the 2022 midterms. Musk's leaning towards the Republican Party comes after his feuds with Joe Biden, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, and Elizabeth Warren over the Democratic government's policies. Elon Musk's displeasure with the Democratic Party and the rivalry with key leaders has also put Speaker Nancy Pelosi firmly under the public eye, with people questioning her wealth. Nancy Pelosi is one of the top 10 richest lawmakers in Congress and has an eye-watering net worth of $114 million. She has been a part of the Congress for the last 34 years and earns upward of $220,000 a year. However, the numbers don't really add up to make her one of the richest members of Congress. Much of her wealth comes from the investments made by her husband, Paul Pelosi, who's a venture capitalist and owns stocks in multiple companies. However, one of Paul Pelosi's investments that has really set the alarm bells off is his shares in Elon Musk's Tesla. On March 17, Paul Pelosi purchased 2,500 shares of Tesla stock by exercising stock options first revealed in December 2021. The shares were bought at a strike price of $500 just a day before those options were set to expire. Tesla stocks went up by more than 25% over the next 2 weeks, and a wave of criticism was directed towards Nancy Pelosi, as many believe that she is privy to inside information on the stock market and has made millions from being in the government over the last 4 decades. The skepticism that the Pelosis were benefiting from insider information first made rounds on internet platforms back in early 2021, when Nancy Pelosi disclosed stocks worth $1 million on January 21. Just 4 days later, President Joe Biden signed an executive order where a commitment was made to make 50% of the vehicles electric by 2030. Joe Biden also announced that the US government will replace 645,000 official vehicles with 100% electric vehicles. As the frontrunner in the EV industry, Tesla is best positioned to take advantage of the EV plan, and it was obvious that the Tesla stock would skyrocket after the executive order. With Paul Pelosi buying Tesla stocks so close to the announcements, insider trading seemed like a real possibility. Nancy Pelosi was called out by the public and some quarters of the media. However, the accusations were never probed. One of the most vocal critics of the Pelosis in the whole saga was famous podcaster Joe Rogan, who questioned the legality of these purchases and asked how this was not insider trading.
Right.
If you know that someone's going to sign a bill and that bill is going to be a massive boost to the electrical vehicle industry, just as an example, and you know that bill's going to be signed, so right before that bill's signed, you buy a fuckload of stock in electrical vehicles, and then the next day, or whenever it was, that bill gets passed, and then that stock goes up and you make a shit ton of money. How is that not illegal?
While there was no legal action, Pelosi and Paul started trending on social media platforms, and people started following their stock portfolio to buy what they were buying in the stock market. Thousands of videos started appearing on TikTok informing people of the stocks held by the Pelosis, and the accusations of insider trading also gained strength. A Twitter account called Nancy Tracker also gained popularity and amassed a following of more than 217,000 people before being permanently suspended last year. By the end of 2021, there was an increased focus on congresspersons and their stock options, with most of the US public deeming it unethical for lawmakers to hold stocks. According to one survey, 76% of the US voters believed that lawmakers and their spouses had an unfair advantage in the stock market, while only 5% of the voters approved of lawmakers or their spouses buying stocks. The reason is simple. Most lawmakers are privy to sensitive information on a daily basis. They are involved in making key decisions and may know the secrets to the stock market that the general public may never know. As Speaker of the House and an important figure in the Democratic government, Nancy Pelosi is very likely to use that information, especially with her husband being so active in the stock market. Interestingly, a law against manipulation of the stock market by members of the government is already in place. It is called the Stock Act of 2012, and under the Act, lawmakers are required to disclose their stock trades and trades made by family members within 45 days of such purchases. The Act also makes it illegal for members to use insider information from their work for personal gains in the stock market. But if you think that has deterred members from any foul play, you have to think again. According to an investigation by the Business Insider, more than 60 members of Congress and at least 182 senior-level staffers have been found to have violated the Stock Act since the start of 2021. It was obvious that the previous act isn't working, and the government needs new legislation to stop lawmakers from gaining an unfair advantage. With growing concerns about insider trading and under pressure from the public, some lawmakers decided it was finally time to take the bull by the horns and ban members of Congress from trading stocks. The new legislation would also limit the possibilities for conflicts of interest between the legislative duties of Congress members and their personal finances. However, Nancy Pelosi has remained reluctant to back any such decision. In December 2021, she was asked by a reporter whether she would support a stock trading ban for members of Congress, and her response was telling. "We are a free market economy. They should be able to participate in that." This was her response, which quickly backfired, and she attracted criticism from political and media quarters. After flip-flopping around the topic, Pelosi finally gave in and announced that she will back the proposed legislation. At Pelosi's direction, a House committee is now drafting the rules, and the legislation is expected to be put up for a vote this year. However, the devil lies in the details. While the proposal will ban Congress members from trading stocks, disagreement remains on whether to include spouses and family members in the bill or not. Pelosi has said that including spouses in the bill is complicated. However, ethics experts believe that without the inclusion of spouses, the bill will effectively be useless. Tesla isn't the only stock that has put Pelosi's under the public lens for corruption. According to the New York Post, the Pelosi's also made millions in call options for stocks, including the likes of Google and Salesforce. Meanwhile, some Congress insiders say she has slow-walked efforts to regularize big tech. In fact, the corruption accusations go further back to a time when Tesla wasn't the giant it is today. Back in 2011, CBS News' 60 Minutes report highlighted the alleged soft corruption of Pelosi and her husband. According to the report, the Pelosis participated in an IPO of Visa in 2008. They bought 5,000 shares at the initial price of $44, but just 2 days later, the shares were trading at $64. Just as today, Nancy Pelosi was the House Speaker at the time. It was former US President Harry Truman who said that you can't get rich in politics unless you're a crook. Now, Nancy Pelosi might not be one, but it is also a fact that her political career has coincided with a meteoric rise in her wealth. Maybe these shady practices are the reason that Elon Musk isn't in the Democratic camp anymore and has leaned towards a more conservative ideology in the past few years.